I specialize in analyzing web and digital content for accessibility, especially any sort of learning content used for online teaching and learning. And I teach others to do the same. I teach people how to analyze for accessibility and how to build things that are accessible so that everyone can have an equivalent experience. I'm going to give you a crash course in how to analyze a web page for accessibility. This gets easier the more you practice it. When you're first starting out, it can be a little bit challenging. I do have an accessibility checklist for you down below in the show notes, so be sure to download that and keep it handy. When I am analyzing a web page or really any piece of digital content, I go through it in 4 phases. I know it sounds like a little bit of a lot, but I'll break it down for you. So the first phase is I'll take a web page and I'll scroll through it using a mouse and just my eyeballs. I'm fully sighted, I can use a mouse. So I just want to scan through it visually and see what the issues are, because the first things I want to look for are the obvious things, like how is the color contrast? What do the font choices look like? Does it look like the content is structured? The second phase is I put aside the mouse. I'm still using my eyeballs, but I start using the keyboard. I use the keyboard tab key to navigate through a page, see if there's a focus indicator, see if I can use the web page just as well with a keyboard as I can with a mouse. The third phase, I use a screen reader. I use a free one called NVDA on Windows, and I use a screen reader to navigate along with my keyboard to see how well it works, if all the content is read, if the content is read correctly, if I'm able to interact with the content. The fourth phase is where I really get into the nitty-gritty and figure out how to fix things. I use a accessibility checker, either Webaim's WAVE tool, which I've built into my browser, or DexAx tools, which goes more into the code. And from there, I start creating my list of what is a problem and what needs to be fixed. So I'm starting here on this Accessible University page. This is actually a inaccessible demo page set up by the University of Washington for training purposes. Thank you, University of Washington. So the first thing I do is I take a look at what's going on the page. So I see there's a menu up here. When I hover over it, the states of those things change. There's another menu down here. These states also change as I hover over them. There is a visual photo carousel here. You can note right away this text is very difficult to read. That will be an accessibility issue. I'm also noticing that the color contrast is probably not accessible up here. When you're not hovering over it, you can see that faint gray of the font for the words. That's not going to be accessible. This form will need to have specific accessible features. I'm not able to test that just yet. I'm going to scroll down. Font colors are fine. It looks like these are headings. You want to see structure in a web page to help people with screen readers navigate it. We'll see on the back end whether or not that's accessible. And I do see a table down here. Tables are really tricky when it comes to accessibility. I don't think this one is formatted correctly. I can say it's definitely not because there's 2, header rows here. And there's also a column over here. That's not going to be accessible for someone using a screen reader. There's a video down here. The video does not have captions, so that's definitely not going to be accessible if it has audio to it. All right, so that's my first scroll through as I'm spotting the obvious issues. After I go through a page visually with my mouse, kind of spot some of the issues, now I want to move on to my keyboard. And I'm not using a screen reader yet, but I can use my keyboard to navigate the page and start to spot some other issues. So you can use the arrow key, of course, to go through, or the tab key. So I'm going to hit the tab key. You can see those things are getting selected. I can see the menu being selected. Notice that there's no skip content link. A well-formatted page will actually have a link at the top of the page to skip to content, so you can skip over the menus, because otherwise, if you're spending a lot of time on a website visiting multiple pages, it'll read the menu to you every single time, and that gets really, really tedious. So I can see that's going to be a problem. Tabbing through here. All right, so I'm seeing that there's no focus graphic on this page. On an accessible website, when you're hitting the tab button, the tab button will take you to everything that's clickable on the page, and there should usually be a focus indicator. So around these click here items, I know that these are links, and of course it shouldn't say click here, it should have some proper wording, but there should be a focus indicator as I'm tabbing through so that I can see on the page where I'm able to click or to select using my keyboard. So normally to select something, to visit a link on your keyboard, you would just tab onto it, see the focus indicator, hit enter, and it will take you to that link. All right, so now I think I'm on the video, but again, I am on the video, but there's no focus indicator telling me where I am. And here's a good example of a focus indicator. This video player actually does have a focus indicator for each item. I don't know how accessible that video is. And now we've moved on to the form. So you can see I can tab through the form here. Okay, there's no focus indicator for the majors, but if I hit that space bar, you can see I can check those with my keyboard. You can see that's a problem as well. And for that security test, I see that there's no audio option for that CAPTCHA. So if you are someone that is not sighted, that isn't able to read this, you're out of luck and you won't be able to submit that form because there is no audio version of that. All right, next up, let's boot up the screen reader. I am on Windows. I am on Windows on my Mac using Parallels, but I use the free open source screen reader NVDA. It's only available for Windows, so I do have to use this on Windows using Parallels on my Mac. All right, the doodle-doodle-doo.
NVDA. Please wait.
So you can hear it starting up here.
Welcome to NVDA. Welcome to OK button folder view.
Okay, from here on out, you're going to hear the screen reader do a lot of talking. I'll try to pause every now and then and tell you what is going on. And I will preface this by saying I'm not an expert screen reader user. I am still learning. There's a lot of keyboard shortcuts I don't have memorized. I did go and find a list online of frequent keyboard shortcuts for NVDA, and I do use those for testing, but I won't go in depth into any of that today.
Google Chrome, one running window.
All right.
Chrome Legacy window. Demo side menu navigation landmark list with 4 items. Link home, same page, link current page, before, link after, link info.
Okay, so you heard that, right? So it's reading the stuff in the top right corner, home, before, after, info. We don't know what that means. As I'm using the screen reader here, imagine there's no picture. I don't know what any of those things mean, and I don't know why I'd want to click on them.
B. Same page link academics. Same page link admissions. Same page link visitors.
Okay, so that read these menu items right here. I know when I hover over them, they drop down, and I did not get the option to drop them down when I'm using the screen reader. So that's a problem.
Out of list clickable. Clickable. A modern shul.
Do you hear that clickable? I don't know what that means. So that means that there's a couple things that are clickable that I don't know what they mean. All right, a modern shul. So school's misspelled. Let's see what else is going on.
List with 4 items. Clickable, 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 clickable.
Ugh, are you getting a twitch yet? I know I am.
Out of list welcome.
Okay, so I think the 4 clickable items it read was referring to those 4 dots underneath the video or the photo carousel. Those clearly aren't labeled correctly, and as a screen reader user, I'm not able to figure out what those are or why I'd want to click on them. All right, let's move on to the text.
Accessible University, O, is a fictional university, and this is its fictional homepage. This page is designed to demonstrate with disabilities
that's working okay.
Accessible design, a graphic horizontal line graphic.
Ugh. It just read out loud the horizontal line right here. We don't need that read. That should be marked as decorative, and it should not have alt text.
Bienvenido. Accessible Universidad. Esta diseñada para demostrar una variedad de común de diseño web que se traducen en problemas de.
All right, so the accent's terrible, but it's reading the Spanish as well.
Web. Una institución de bienvenida. Graphic horizontal line graphic.
Oh my gosh, it's reading all the graphics.
Can you spot the barriers? There are at least 22 accessibility issues on this page. To see a list of all known issues, link click.
Oh, okay, did you hear that? It said link click.
Accessible Universidad. UA. Click. Click here.
click here. So let's use the keyboard shortcut for links to see how they sound.
Click here link. Click here link. Click here link.
All right, did you hear that? So there's 3 links in this paragraph. They all say click here. So when you use the screen reader to read them, what does it say?
Click here link. Click here link. List with 4 items, but click here link. Click here link. Click here link.
Okay, so that's my keyboard shortcut using the letter K to read these out loud. This is a problem. As a screen reader user, I'm presented with 3 links. They're all labeled as click here. I don't know where those go. So one of the things about using a screen reader is that you're not reading all the text word by word necessarily. Just like someone that's sighted and using a mouse, you want to be able to scroll through, to skim through the content to find what you need. So again, there's a huge list of keyboard shortcuts for screen readers that allow you to browse through headings and to browse through links, because you want to be able to get to what you want quickly, right? You don't read every single page that you ever encounter on the internet. So it's a really big problem that these links are listed as click here, and that's all I know about them. So I won't belabor going on through this, but if I use a screen reader to go through, it's not going to be able to label or to read that table correctly, and there's going to be some other issues on it. But that gives you a sampling of what's going on with this page. Okay, so next up, you got a couple of options.
Accessibility has access to this site.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen reader and then move on with an accessibility tool. I've exited out of the screen reader, so no more content is going to be read to me. And I do have a couple of tools I've built into my browser. I've got Webaim's WAVE, and I do have accessibility. That one you have to go into the code. It's a little bit more esoteric, but I'll go ahead and show you this one. Webaim WAVE is my favorite. It's the one that I teach people to use when I teach them accessibility. And I'm not going to go through this in detail. I have another video where I go through this in detail, but you can get the add-on for your browser, or you can go directly to the WAVE tool and put in the URL, and it'll give you this report on the left. So you can see how many errors there are, alerts, contrast errors, so on and so forth. So first off, I want to see what has alt text and what doesn't. I do have a checklist of accessibility issues that I provided in the show notes that you can refer to. You can see a lot of things are missing alternative text. That doesn't always mean that it's bad. Sometimes you don't want things to have alternative text. Like for instance, these things should not have alt text. And the reason is because they are decorative and it's not important for them to be part of the experience for a screen reader user. It's just a waste of time. So those should not, and yet the items that should have alt text do not. So you can click on these to see what the issue is. If you're having trouble seeing where that is on the page, you can turn off styles. That's a really nice feature of WAVE. And then you can click on each one. So these photos, these are actually part of the photo carousel. They're all missing alt text. That's a problem because, as you saw when we were using the screen reader, those photos were not read aloud to us. We were missing out on that equivalent experience. That's the gold standard for accessibility. So there should be an equivalent experience. You can see missing form labels. There's very low contrast. I already pointed that out with the menu, and Webaim WAVE is confirming it. There's suspicious alternative text. Yeah, horizontal line graphic, that's suspicious. It thinks that maybe that shouldn't be there, and it is correct. It tells you other structural elements are going on. So it is using unordered lists and ordered lists. That's a good thing, but there's some other issues. I also like to take a look at the structure. The structure tells me where headings are being used, and headings are used by screen reader users to be able to browse content. So the page needs to be formatted correctly using headings. This page has no headings. Visually, it looked like it had headings, but the coding in the back end is not actually properly formatted here. So that's missing. I've got another video again about headings as well that you can refer to for that. And then you can see here some information about the color contrast. You can use the color contrast tool provided by Webaim WAVE to figure out if things have correct contrast or not, but I can see already that, that menu did not have correct contrast. Okay, so that's the quick and dirty way that I go through web pages and analyze them for accessibility. This does take a lot of practice, okay? I like to do multiple passes of a page. I do one pass using my checklist. I do another pass to see what I missed. I do a third pass. I alternate between mouse, keyboard, screen reader just to get a feel for how each mode is working or not working. And then I make a list and I go from there to be able to correct that web page. I'm not a web developer, but I do know the very basics of HTML, for instance, so I can spot some of the issues in the code, and I can advise a web developer on how to fix those issues. So what questions do you have? Let me know in the comments, and you can also download my accessibility checklist there as well. I'm Lindsay, and I cover instructional design, e-learning development, and all things online teaching and learning.